What's happening, people? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back. Another video, another show to do. Good stuff today. There's going to be a lot of good stuff in terms of things that we got to look forward to as Leeds United fans, things that are positives for the future. I know that the defense is still a mess. There's not much we can do about that right now. But listen, we've got some real good stuff to look forward to. And just looking back at that Bournemouth game, and going forward with some of our youngsters, I just have to give it some special mentions out to those players too. Please hit a like on the video if you haven't done so already. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Yeah, man, and let's get into it, man. Danny, shout out to you, always supporting. Smash a like, yeah, please do that. Evening to everybody. Deshaun, man like KJ, afternoon, evening, morning, night, wherever you are in the world. Lewis saying, shout out KG Road to 7.7. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with the subscribe thing, but all I know is that I seem to have a core audience and you guys are coming through for me. And I got to say thank you for that, because the numbers over the last month, as YouTube tell me in these updates, have been really cool. They've been really good. So thank you for rocking with me. I don't know if it's going to get any higher anytime soon, but hey, listen, patience is a virtue. And shout out to Gail. Shout out to everybody, man, who's joining me and who's joined me in the past week or so. Past couple of weeks, it's been really good. It's been really good. Tom Gatlin straight in there. Rodrigo, 7 goals in 12 games. He's a starter. It's marvelous, isn't it? You know, Tom, I've been thinking about that. And I just hope that there's a lazy scout out there. And you know, there's plenty of them out there, Tom. You know there is. They look at just numbers. They don't really look at the player or anything else like that. And they say, hey, he looks good. Maybe Leeds would accept 15 to 20 for him. You never know. There's scouts out there that have done worse things. They've done worse things. Yeah, Derek, top man. Yeah, Mark, shout out to you. Shout out to everybody, man. But yeah, listen, the result in the end sparked a few emotions. I'm going to talk about Victor Orta later on. And if I forget about the Wolves prediction, just remind me in the chat. So, because you know it's a cup game and it's an early round cup game, but yeah, listen, there's just so much stuff, and going through Jesse Marsch. You know what I was really happy with Jesse Marsch after the game is that he wasn't elated with the victory. I know that sounds a bit weird after we've come through after such a euphoric comeback, but he's not happy with how we're getting these wins. And I like that, because it means that he knows that there's room to improve. There's positions that we need to improve on. You know, he said, I was told about the Leeds thing when I came here, the Leedsy thing, and I didn't want it to be true, but it's what we're having to do right now. But you can tell he's not enjoying it. You know, usually after a game like that, the manager would be bouncing and everything else like that. But the press conferences I saw him in, he wasn't pleased. You know, he was like, yeah, we've got the job done, but this should have been a calm 2-0. It shouldn't have been 4-3 after coming back from 3-1 down. And, you know, he recognizes where we are, and that's a good thing for me. I don't know how anyone else feels about that. I know sometimes we look for managers to mirror the fans' image, but I think it's good that he can foresee that he needs to change. T. O'Brien is saying, if Haaland scores tap-ins and pens in a dominant City team, he's a genius finisher. But Rodrigo getting 7 goals with nearly best goals per minute in the league in a poor Leeds team, he's not good enough. And listen, that's fine. That is fine. Listen, Rodrigo will have his supporters out there, and that's good. The only thing is, what do we keep seeing from Rodrigo, though, is that he has to get subbed off. Like, he seems to do okay in spurts. He seems to do all right, say, like for a first half. But then he disappears a bit. And listen, if he's getting all his work done in the first half and then has to come off, I'm cool with that. But I would just like someone just a little bit better. But I know what people are saying. Listen, the numbers look great. He's doing well. What is he now? Got 3 and 3 or something like that. It's some crazy thing like that. But I know what people are saying. But there just has to be something better out there. Just has to be. Mark Jones is saying, if we tweak the defense a little so teams can't beat us this way, what a team would be. It's also, we need better personnel, Mark. We need better personnel in the defense. It's like the thing I've said all along with systems and everything else like that. You can play any system in the world you want. You just have to have the right personnel. And right now we don't. So maybe it's something that Jesse needs to tweak, knowing that with the defenders we've got. Because yet again, when the ball goes over the top, we're getting blitz for pace like nearly every time. There's not once where you think, when was the last time we saw like a defender make one of those last ditch tackles? I look at Thiago Silva on the weekend, he made one, but we just don't have the pace to do it. But it's up to Jesse to fix that, I think, at the moment, until we can get some new defenders in. And that's it. I mean, Lewis is saying Rodrigo's playmaking is ducky. And Ashley saying Rudder's link-up play is abysmal. Yeah, that's what I mean. There's plus and minuses to him. And for me, I just want a more complete player. I don't want to hear this thing about if Rodrigo and Patrick Bamford one player. I don't want that player. I want someone better. And that's just it for me. I just want somebody to be a better player. And that's what I'm looking for throughout the team. And that's what I'm looking for with some of the youngsters that we've currently got who are lifting us up. And there's reasons why for that. Yeah, Bubs, we conceded about 8 goals last season, only bought one defender, and that's a fair point. That is a fair point. Cloudy Bright. Are you Cloudy Dizzle? Have you changed your name? Cloudy Bright, though, is saying Jesse's system will work with better personnel. We need to be patient. And that's where I am. That's completely where I am with Jesse Marsch. Just some words as well on the substitution in terms of Jesse Marsch. He got it right. I've often said about him, the one thing I can't defend Jesse on is his substitutions and just how baffling they are. But listen, ever since he said about who he can count on and who stands up and who doesn't shy away, who can step up to the plate, you've seen the substitutions have changed. They've changed. He's counting on other people. And I've got to say about Sam Greenwood now, because Sam Greenwood was one last season where I thought Jesse was always saying he gets it. He gets what I'm trying to do. He's the one that gets what I'm trying to do in terms of the way the system needs to work. And he's hardly been getting any game time. He wasn't getting any game time for a while. And then he came in as starter when Adams was out, which was very weird. And then you see him come on and do his thing against Bournemouth, and he was fantastic. He was brilliant. Now, Sam Green was a striker for me. I don't think he's that. I know he's started out as a striker, but for me, he's more of a playmaking player overall. I think he's just better a bit further back. And his set pieces as well was something different for us. They were actually getting into the middle of the box instead of the first man. But Greenwood for me is somebody that Jesse, I believe, trusted before. So it was a bit weird for me that he wasn't getting the game time. But listen, Greenwood is again showing Jesse that he can be trusted. His first touch, he's got good tech. Now, I don't know if he's a consistent Premier League player at this point. I don't know. But he's hardly let Jesse Marsch down compared to other players who kept on getting the game time ahead of him. So it's going to be very interesting. Sound going, KG. It's the sound. It's not the sound. It's my voice. My voice is a little bit hoarse today, Gail. So just forgive me with that. My throat is a little bit dry, but I'm going to try and get through it as best as possible. That's a big shout, Dave. Greenwood going to be similar as Maddison. I mean, if that's the case, then we've got a £70 million player on our hands, Dave, and that would be magnificent, wouldn't it? But man, I mean, just listen. I mean, again, just want to shout out as well. And Karen mentions it here. Sorry, again, voice going. Let me just take a sip. We were 3-1 down at the time when Greenwood hit that shot. And again, it was a situation where another player, a more senior player, would have probably looked for a pass. They would have taken 5-10 touches. They would have done whatever. Sam Greenwood instinctively hit that left foot, which I believe is his weaker foot, put it in the corner. It was a magnificent strike. And the technique, the pressure cooker that we were under in terms of the fans getting on the players for the lack of good performance at the time, marvelous. But that is what we get from young players that have got good quality. They will give you that. They will play with no fear. They will play with that. And it's like a broken record for me. It's something I've been saying for so long, but you got to give these guys the opportunities. And so shout out to Greenwood for that. iPad play, KG's voice gone shouting at his FPL score. We don't talk about FPL here. Allow it. Forget that one. I'm too busy, you know. I haven't been able to. Nah, it's just going very, very badly for me in FPL. Not gonna lie. And just something else as well. And listen, fellas, you know, and I'm speaking to older, I'm speaking to the younger youths on here too that watch me. We all know it isn't good to send unsolicited DICK pics. We know that, right? But listen, feel free to send everybody the picture of Willie Gnonto because everybody deserves to see that Willie. He was magnificent. And again, the composure that Willie showed. I mean, listen, the guy took the ball from just outside our own box, carried it forward, shrugged off challenges like they weren't even there. And the weight of the pass he put through to Somerville. Guys, this is what it is all about. This is what it is all about when it comes to players in the Prem. And it's something I said before. Other youngsters around the Prem are getting their chances to shine. We're not allowing our youngsters with talent to shine. Now we've done it. They're unleashed. They are unleashed. Listen, we are giving the chances to the players that deserve it. And this is it with players now. These players that we're giving chance to, and Somerville, we'll come on to Somerville in a bit. Gnonto, Greenwood, Gelhart as well, getting his charity minutes yet again. These are players that know how to play with technique and they can dribble with the ball. Think about that. All the players that keep on getting the chances ahead of these guys, they've got zero tech. They can't shoot. They can't run. They can't do anything. But these guys are the ones that are hungry. They're scoring match winners. They're not shirking away. They're always looking for the ball. This is what you need in the Premier League. It's magnificent. Jake is saying, preach KG, Gnonto taking the responsibility upon himself was so refreshing. And it's not like he just bombs forward every single time. The guy is so intelligent. Like when we needed to slow the game down, he was slowing it down. He wasn't just going 100 miles per hour because he felt the needed to impress. The guy's got it. There's a reason why Roberto Mancini trusts him for Italy. There's a reason why. Alex saying, though, give Melier a rest to put the Spanish kid. Joel Robles is 33. I don't know how long we can go with kid, but yeah, listen. Gnonto for me, yet again, second cameo. Just magnificent. And listen, it's one of those things for me at this point in time where I want to see Gnonto start against Wolves in the Carabao Cup, but against Spurs, and we'll go on to Spurs later in the week when we do the preview for that. Do we unleash him as a sub yet again, or do we give him the start? Because him and Somerville's relationship on and off the pitch, it's just blossoming beautifully. Do we get to see that from the start, or does he get another cameo? I need to give that some thought, and we'll talk about that later in the week. But listen, he's just been super impressive for me. Super impressive. G Dean is saying, you are right, KG. The decision making, weight of pass, beautiful from the young boy Gnonto. Some of the seniors in our squad can't manage that. That's the point. And it's a great point. Some of them can't. Imagine some of them. I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to do that. But just imagine some of those guys trying what Gnonto did to set up Somerville in that pressure moment. 3-3. Or shall we hang on for the point? No. We're going to go through. The ability, the poise, the weight of pass was, it was so beautiful. Like I've watched that goal probably about 6-7 times. And listen, and we're talking about his partner there, Somerville. Guys, Somerville's finish. What I've accused somebody before of finishing so tamely. Like people keep saying that goalkeepers are making good saves. They're not. The finishers have just been tame. Somerville lifts it over the goalkeeper into the corner. Guys, we've got some real good prospects on our hands here. Real good prospects. Nate, shout out to Nate. Sydney, Somerville, Gnonto on the wings is so deadly. It's going to be mad. It's going to be mad to see it all together. And Matthew, I'm gonna star your comment for later. I'm gonna come back to that. Jacob saying, I hope Jesse realizes these youngsters have proved themselves enough to be far ahead of the old guard now. And that's it as well, Jacob. I think Jesse has got it. I genuinely believe since that press conference where he was talking about players that would shirk from the responsibility and shrink, and we know who they are. He's just said, no, I don't care about promises that were made in regards to game time. I'm giving the players with the ability the time. And it's worked out wonders for him. He got 6 points in 2 games. Now we look so much more healthier in the league. We're 12th now. We're 12th. And it's all because of the brave choices and the good substitutions that Jesse's made. Tom's saying here, youngsters are playing really well, but I hope when 1 or 2 of the youngsters have an off day, fans don't turn on them. Of course, Tom. I think that's just natural though, Tom. I think youngsters get a little bit more leeway than old experienced pros because you expect more, don't you? You expect more from established players, but young players, you've got to know there's going to be growing pains. There's going to be times where they're inconsistent. It's something that happens, unless they're Mbappe and Haaland levels, you know what I mean? But they should always be given more chances to succeed than looking at them and saying, "Oh, Somerville didn't score this game, drop him." You can't handle him like that. You say, "Okay, he didn't play well in this one. Let's see what he can do in the next one." Ma saying, "Name the players, KG. Don't be afraid sharing his healing." I've mentioned them enough, Ma. There's no point keep on going over them, but you just think about our number 9, who, if he had that chance that Gnonto put through, was anyone confident that he would have scored? Probably not. So it is what it is. Luke, we're going to talk about Orta's thing in just a moment. Let me just get another sip. But that was just the main thing I wanted to mention in regards to Gnonto, Somerville, and Greenwood, and those kind of players, and even Gelhardt, because Gelhardt, whatever it is with Gelhardt, he's not getting the minutes that the other players are getting. But these are the kind of players that will take us forward in the Premier League, and of course the new guys like Rucker, Adams, and Aronson, and all those guys, Strauch as well from the previous regime. These are the guys that will be taking us forward. So we have to look at those as positives. The defense is a worry for me. It is an issue. That's not going to go away. If we're going to go 3-1 down to Bournemouth, then it is a little bit crazy. But let's focus on those positives, because these are real good positives for us, because these are game-winning positives. You know what I mean? So let's go. TM27, Harrison not good enough in my opinion, too inconsistent, and we should have taken that money from Newcastle and ran. But that's the problem though, TM27, because even I was saying at the time, unless they reinvest all that money that Newcastle were getting into a player like a Noah Lang or someone of that caliber, then we would have to keep Harrison, because there was no one else. So it all depends on what they do with the money. But if Newcastle are still interested, which maybe they are, maybe that's in the back of his head. Could be. It could be. But because he hasn't signed a new contract here. And usually when the window closes and the move's gone, the contract usually gets signed, and that hasn't happened. So maybe there is still an interest from Newcastle. We'll see what happens in January. Ted Garron just saying, Gnonto went the length of the pitch, strongly bouncing off a defender with great speed and determination. True, reminded me of Bobby Orr. A bit before my time, but yeah, I recognize the name. Obviously a great hockey player. Jake saying, Harrison eats up minutes and Jesse can only rely on him for at least a 5 and 6 performance. And that's it. I mean, listen, again, not bagging on Harrison, but how many times have we seen Harrison get taken off after 45 minutes? Even before 60, even before the hour mark. Happens quite a lot, doesn't it? So we do need more from him. And when you see what Somerville and Gnonto are doing, it's kind of making those guys look a little bit pedestrian, in my opinion. But listen, we'll see what happens in January. Let's have a look. Wolves. Oh gosh, I didn't thank super thanks donators on the last video. Let me just quickly do that. John Abbott, Tim Hurst, and Douglas Harley. Thank you so much for your super thanks on the last video. And listen, JKA is coming up a lot here. JKA means January and no. Well, listen, if you remember, they said that whatever happens with JKA won't affect the transfer budget. I mean, that was a couple of years ago now, so I don't know if that's changed. So it will be interesting to see if that does affect us, because at this point, I believe we're having to pay 6.7 million for the first installment. I understand why we've lost it. I know that Leeds were trying to get out of it via a technicality, and are planning to appeal it again. But I do see why we've lost it. You know, they tried to do the whole we got promoted after the date on the contract thing, but that I think it was a long shot, people. So it looks like we are going to have to cough up the 18 million or 21 million euros for JKA, which is not ideal. But I just don't see how it doesn't affect our finances, because where has that just been saved to one side? I doubt it. I doubt it. So yeah, it's an interesting one. We'll see if that does affect January. But listen, if it does affect January, will we even realize? Because we didn't do nothing in the last January either. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens with that. I'm sure more information will come out from the club as that comes on. Deshaun saying, haven't they sold him on? Surely we should get the money they sold him on for if we pay for them. Are you talking about JKA? Because it was agreed by FIFA that he was a free agent, which is why he's moved to a couple clubs since. Leipzig said they didn't want him. Leeds said they didn't want him. So they agreed that he was a free agent. So nobody has got the rights to him bar his current club. And I think it's Basel, isn't it? Don't know that for sure, actually. I don't know. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with the JK. It's a mess, but we probably knew. I think if you lined up the probability of us winning that case, I think it was very low, just due to pandemic reasons. I think it was too low, but yeah, it is. It is. Let's have a look. MA saying January window inflated prices. It is. I'm still of the belief that I don't think we're going to do anything major. I do hope I'm wrong. If we do get something, maybe it's a left back, but they've burned me twice before, people. I've said we've got to do something in the last window. They didn't do nothing. They burned me, so I'm kind of keeping my my cards close to my chest. But I'd love them to do something, but we'll have to see. Now, Victor Orta, that will be the next topic now. So let's go. An evening, everyone, and listen, people. If you haven't smashed the like button, please do that for me now. Nigel, just on the JKA, if we're having to pay the full amount for JKA, is he our player then to sell? No, Nigel, that's done. Just to be clear, we don't own him. Like we have no rights to JKA. He is somebody else's player, and that was agreed when we allowed him to go for free, and also when Leipzig allowed him to go for free. The issue is a contractual thing between the two clubs that there should have been a payment. That's the issue. The player is like an afterthought in this now, unfortunately. So it's got nothing to do with JKA. It's to do with between Leipzig and Leeds United. That's the main thing. But yeah, Victor Orta, let's go with that one now, people, because after the game, he was very emotional. Let me just get the quotes up, and he was sarcastically telling people, what was he doing? Yeah, sack the board and everything else like that. Angus giving him a little bit of a, oh no, please, Victor, don't do this. Please don't do this, Victor. But what I would say is Victor then comes out with an apology. Let me get the apology out of the way, because it kind of ties in to everything that I'm kind of thinking here. Victor says, I would like to say sorry for my reaction after the game yesterday. I don't want to make excuses, but in the end, I am human. The past few months have been very difficult for everyone at the club. I've been subjected to a lot of abuse in person, in writing, and via phone calls after my number was deliberately given out last month. And lastly, I love and respect Leeds United fans. The atmosphere at Ellen Road and across the country at every game is incomparable and has helped us to get over the lines on many occasions. I thank the fan base for that, and I will be sure to try and keep my emotions in check in the future. Now, listen, for me, I've got to say, and this is just because of the way I'm built, I guess, I don't really have a problem with what he said. I think the main people that would have taken issue with what he said are people that want the board out. I think that's probably the main people that would have felt offended by it. But I just think I was saying this. It's funny. I was saying this the other day to somebody about football fans and just how hard everyone believes they are, but they're just so sensitive. You know, a player can go up and take a corner. The player's doing nothing but taking a corner, and he can get called this, that, and the other by fans. But if that player turns around and does something back, oh, you can't do that to me. No, you can't do that to me. You can't say that to me. Yeah, I mean, and Victor, listen, he's in a high profile job, a very well paid job. He's going to get praise and he's going to get criticism. And I'm sure he's fully aware of that. But like you said, he's human and everyone has a breaking point. You know, on a much smaller scale here, you know, I could say something that a lot of people don't agree with. And people come up to me and say, what you talking about, KG? What you talking about? You know, and give me some kind of abuse, some abuse that just gets filtered into the YouTube bin that I'll never see. But I'm aware that at being on camera and talking to a lot of people, that I will probably get some negative feedback. It's just natural, isn't it? But obviously, he got it to a point where he just wanted to let it out. But what I will say with Victor Orta, he's always been performative. He's always been performative. And whether that's been when we've got promoted and the Derby binoculars, that's not proper behavior from a director either. But I'm sure all the people that thought that got offended with him saying sack the board were laughing at the binoculars thing. But both things are unprofessional in his position, both of them. You know, his when on the documentary where we don't get the Dan James over the line, you know, he gets over emotional on that too. Cameras are there. He knows cameras are there. So he's always been a performative. He's always been emotional. I just think it's a little bit not hypocritical. That's too much of that's too harsh. I just think it's too much to laugh at the whole binoculars thing at Derby, who I'm sure don't appreciate that, but then get upset when he's biting back. Now, listen, obviously, and something else I want to make clear, he was obviously going to do this if we beat Bournemouth regardless, because we had come back from 3-1 down against Bournemouth at home, which again isn't an ideal time to be puffing out your chest. And also when we've got the verdict that we've got to pay 18 million for a player that played less than a game for us. But so he was obviously, regardless of what happened, whether we had won 1-0, 2-0, 3-1, or 4-3 as we did, he was going to say sack the board. I believe it was premeditated. So that's what you're going to get with Victor Orta. So the outcry of it, though, I don't really understand. But again, I'm not an over emotional person like that. Like, unless it's personal to me and my family, I don't really take too much to heart, if that makes sense. But I'm not a normal guy. I'll say it. I'm not very good with my emotions, I guess. But what are people saying about that? And I'm genuinely interested if you were offended, or if it's, you know, who cares, or he's apologized, move on. You know, let me know in the comments now, and let me know in the comments after the video. I'm very interested to hear. Leeds 1-2. If someone threatened my family, I would have reacted too. Yep. Exactly. Yeah, there's a line for everybody, isn't there? Martin saying, "Re Victor, if you can't take the heat, then get out of the kitchen and stay off social media." FFS post-match self-inflicted injury yesterday. Matthew saying, "I thought that was funny. Fair play to Victor." Yeah. I just didn't see the major issue. I saw people like writing big statements, and I thought, crazy. Happy Kilmore, Victor gets in public spats, and if it was another Leeds employee behaving like that, they'd be sacked or disciplined. It makes us look unprofessional, but he gets abuse, and none of us would take it. Fair enough. But Happy Kilmore, was you laughing at him when he was doing the whole binoculars thing at Derby County's ground? That's what I would say to that. Lewis saying crime fans forced him to apologize. Listen, he was always going to apologize because he works for a public company, and it's just good PR to apologize. You don't want to leave that sitting, especially with a huge fan base like Leeds United. You don't want to leave that sitting like that. So it was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do in the end. Hopefully it just helps just, you know, boil everything over, just smooth everything over. Nate saying, exactly, are the YouTubers actually being sensitive to Orta's comments? I don't know what other YouTubers are saying, Nate, but listen, everyone has got their own opinion. This is just me, though, and I'm very different from a lot of people. I'm not going to lie. What's everyone saying? Let me say. Just going through some of the comments here. Wally saying the MLS Cup final was insane. Yeah, I saw the extra time and penalties. Gareth Bale has always got that clutch gene. Yeah, Jed, everybody is offended these days. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's things that you should be offended about, things that you wish you could change, but this isn't one of them for me. I'm just saying. Jay saying, totally agree, KG. Fans need to learn. If you give it, you've got to take it. All his youth signings came through. Yeah, listen, he's made some mistakes, but he's got a lot right. He's got a lot right. And for me, I tell you why I'm like this. I'm just thinking he's working under the restrictions he has. And I think if he had a bigger budget, then maybe we'd be getting more players in and of a higher caliber. But I think his hands are tied in certain areas. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm just getting more comments because I am very interested in this one. Jake saying he didn't cross the line for me. Unprofessional, but it's football. Yeah, yeah. Deshaun is saying not offended, but it was very childish. Rise above. It was childish. It was childish. It was very childish. But yeah. Cloudy Bright saying he's just an emotional guy who wears his heart on his sleeve. He does. He does. And Mark saying this couldn't care less. He's human, just like the rest of us. Exactly. And I throw it back to like Granit Xhaka people. If you remember Granit Xhaka for Arsenal, man, the guy was getting constantly hammered by Arsenal fans week after week after week on social media too, which he admitted as well. He'd always get abuse, and he got subbed off one time and he was walking a little slow, and the fans were just heckling him. But as soon as he does something back, this fans start crying, "Oh, you can't do that. We're paying customers. You can't do that to us." So it's always I always find it with football fans, it's always one way abuse, isn't it? That you can abuse a footballer who's not even doing anything, they're just taking a corner, a throw in, whatever it is. But if they turn around to you and do something back, you get all precious. That's the word I'm looking for, precious. You get precious. I just don't understand that mentality. If I'm at a game, and you'll never see me do it, but if I'm there cussing an opposition player and calling him all sorts, and he turns around and says something, I say, fair play. You know what? I deserve that. But that's the way I am because it's accountability too. And a lot of people have self accountability. That's just the way of the world these days. Langchap, I'd rather have a passionate Victor, also considering how few transfers work. His record at Leeds is pretty good. It's true. It's true. More saying some of us thank Orta for getting Bielsa and all the young talent we have now, the best bunch of youngsters we've ever had. Ooh. Oh, you've got the 99 2000 defense in me coming out now because that group was special, and they were just babies. They were just babies. Uh, but yeah, let's. Happy Kilmore just saying, I'm just in reply to my question to him. Shout out to you, Kilmore. I'm just saying that none of us would take what he's had. He's had abuse once, KG. I'd be for a straightener too, but I think sometimes he should walk away before reacting, or Rad should say go inside and chill. Yeah, listen, I'm not disagreeing with that either. Happy Kilmore. We've got one of the very few owners out there that will use Twitter after we win a game, but he's nowhere to be seen after a loss. And yeah, sometimes it does look like, oh God, please no. But he owns the club and he's put a lot into it. So he's gonna again, we as fans, we love the club in a different way. Like we're gonna be here after these guys are gone. But they also put stuff into it too, whether it be money, time, and when it goes right for them, they want to say something too. So I'm not mad at that. I'm really not mad at them having their opinion, but sometimes you just got to time it better, I think. Um, Well, Wave Fizzy saying them three came in when we were 16th in the championship. People seem to forget this and can be ungrateful on times. We've come a long way. Yep. What I would say to that though, Wave, is that we got to move on from that because you can't live off that forever. That's a problem with some of the promoted lot with the players. They seem to be living off the promotion. We've got to move on from that. But it's about what you do today. It's what have you done for me lately? But yeah, again, we're seeing that with some of the players that we've got now. Victor was involved in all of those, him and Jesse. They were involved in getting Tyler Adams, Mark Rucker, Sinistera, and, Christensen. They were involved in all of that. Sonny Perkins, they were huge in that. Look at the teams that were after Sonny Perkins. So they do deserve a lot of credit. They do. But yeah, listen, what I'd just say to that in closing, guys, human beings, sometimes humans aren't perfect. Humans aren't perfect. So, But listen, I want to get your comments in after the video, and just let me know what you think about that, about the whole saga. Um, Robert Hubb, shout out to you, new member of the channel. If you want to become a member of the channel, the link is in the description. Shout out to you, for joining the KWO. It's overbooked, man. It's overbooked. But listen, just before we go, let's have a look. Oh yeah, and just quickly on our promising youngsters yet again. Just quickly, this is courtesy of LUFC data. Most chances created by Leeds versus Bournemouth. Somerville was 4, Greenwood was 3, and Gnonto was 3. And considering 2 of those were subs, listen, guys, the future's bright, people. The future's bright. Wolves Cup game. I have no idea what's going on for the Cup, and I've started a super chat. Let me just get that. Jason saying, what formation would you play, and how would you get our young players in? Is that for the Wolves game, Jason? I'll assume it is. But shout out to you for the super chat, Matthew. This was a message I started earlier, and I forgot to say. That's me. That's me. All the people hating on Orta for what he did are soft. I mean, I don't know about that. You can give that man all the smoke but can't take any. I mean, that's what it is. Give but can't receive. Pause. Pause. Big pause on that one. What's Joe doing in here? What's he? Oh, this guy. Joe is saying, "Did I miss the Cooper praise? What praise is that, Joe? What's going on, Joe? Talk to me. Talk to me. What praise is this? Yes, he did well to get up for the equalizer. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. Hey, good praise for that. He scored the goal, but what about the first goal where Philip Billing just like brushed him off like he was an ant? What about that? What about Kiefer Moore free on the penalty spot? What about our leader and organizer not getting that right? I mean, come on, man. What are we talking about, Joe? What are we talking about? What you talking about? Listen, I don't want to mention any of those players. I'll leave that to you, Joe, man. You go defend Cooper on your channel. Um, yeah, I mean, exactly. This is what I mean. But listen, agendas have to run. Agenda have to run, you know. But listen, the cup game against Wolves. Now, I was thinking here that maybe it was going to be 2-1 to Leeds, just off the fact that Wolves didn't have a manager, but they've recently appointed somebody new. Um, friendly fire, Joe. Friendly fire. But you know what I mean. You have to look at the thing in totality, Joe, man. But listen, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good, man. But Wolves, for me, I saw them against Brighton. Yet again, shaky performance by them. Sarr, I don't know if Sarr's going to play, but Sarr's playing with a broken wrist because he's not this bad. Jose Sarr isn't this bad of a goalkeeper. I don't know what's going on with him, but allegedly he's playing with some kind of broken wrist. Listen, I don't know the team that we're going to see. I know that a few of our youngsters didn't play in the under 21s today. So I'm just going to go with score predictions here, people. So give me a score prediction for Wednesday's 4th round game. And I'm interested to see. I can't put that up. That's harsh. I'm interested to see what you think is going to happen. I'm going to go for a 1-1, and then we're through on penalties. But there got to be better penalties than we saw in that bloody Papa John's. I don't know what those guys were doing. Did you guys see that penalty shootout? Oh my lord, jokers, absolute jokers. Oh man. Gabe, shout out to you for the super chat. Did you see Liverpool are up for sale? Word is that Tyler Adams is so hard that he broke their will to invest in another pence. No, I did see that though, Gabe. Liverpool fans have been calling for FSG to leave. FSG actually own my Penguins, which is a cool twist of fate for me. But yeah, I've seen that they're up for sale. But who's going to go in for that asking price? It's going to be a costly one. So it's going to have to be some very wealthy owners. On the Wolves Leeds game, 3-0 to Leeds, I think. That would be nice. Ben's, oh, sorry, let me just get that. Ben saying 0-0, 3-2 on Pens. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that, man. I'm assuming this is penalties, Benjo. 10-9 to Leeds. I'm just going to assume that's penalties. All right. Let's have a look. cup run. I'd love one, Joe. I'd absolutely love one. Absolutely love one, man. Just think of the euphoria we'd have, Joe, if we could get to a final and win it. I mean, imagine that. I wouldn't be able to sleep. I wouldn't be able to sleep for a couple of days. I think. I think I wouldn't be able to sleep. Gavin Parry saying 0-1 on pens. Yeah, yeah. Listen, I just don't see it being a high scoring game. I think it's going to be pretty low because of Wolves anyway. But I'm just hoping that we can go through that. It would be nice to get a run going, like we just mentioned with Joe there. I want to see my team win a trophy. You know, lifting that championship trophy was brilliant enough. You know, and I thought, wow, this is amazing. Imagine if we win something like a Carabao Cup or an FA Cup, it would be amazing, wouldn't it? So let's hope that we do that. And I think the youngsters will play in the majority. Maybe players like Click will be playing, but because at the same time as well, Wolves will be rotating as well. So it's not like we're going to be putting up our worst against their best. So it's going to be interesting to see the two teams. But I'll be happy to get through on penalties. I'll say that now. But listen, people, is there anything else? If there's anything else, let me know in the chat now. Otherwise, I'm going to end the stream and rest my poor dry voice. Oh man. And shout out, yeah, and listen, just shout out to everyone that's joined me today. Smash a like before you go as well. That helps the channel out the best. Oh, but Bunkies is saying Premier League survival has to be priority. Why can't we have both? Why is it always one or the other with Leeds United? Can't we have both? Why can't we just finish boringly in the mid-table and go on a cup run? Listen, it happened to Palace last year. Palace got to a final last year. Let's do the same. Let's do the same, man. I just want it. I want it so bad. I want success so bad. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'd do anything for success. Almost anything. Almost anything. Pause on that. Pause. Yeah, you can't win anything with young guns. Yeah, Villa Martin. No, I know. I'm going to put some on in a bit, man. Honey, that is the best soother. That is a soother. But yeah, listen, people, that's been the show today. I'm not sure when I'm going to be back. I don't know if I'm going to be back straight after the game against Wolves or the day after, just so I can roll that in as a Spurs preview as well. So keep an eye out for that. Just keep it locked to the channel, subscribe, put the notification bells on, and you'll know when I'm going live. That is the discussion. Anything I've discussed today, put in the comments after your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next video. And shout out to everyone for the support. Love.